G'day guys, what's going on? Welcome back to ALFX Trading. In today's video, I'm just going to be going over some questions that I've had in the comments in the last few videos in the past week, and then I'm going to break down the trade on the screen here in a bit more detail, try and just, show you guys what I'm looking at when getting into a trade that I like. So when I'm trading, I usually go for a trade setup that's at least 1-to-1, like that's like minimum 1-to-1, but I try and look for at least two, probably 2 to 4. 4 like probably be usually my highest, but there is multiple times when I'm in a trade and then I see a pullback, for example, and I get back in with a second position also for like 1 to 3. So my first position, which was 1 to 4, is then hits the take profit, for example, and then there's another trade that's running from 2% in profit from the first trade all the way to another 4%. So I end up with 8% for the trade. So it totally just depends on the setup. But yeah, I would say I range from 1-to-1 as a minimum, and in one trade, usually around 1 to 4, depending how tight the stops are though. Like sometimes the stops can be very tight and I won't risk as much on that trade, and it'll be, 1 to 8, 10, even more sometimes. But I usually like to stick to a 1% risk. Depends what you're trading. When I'm doing like prop firm stuff, and there's like limited time, for example, with FTMO, you've got 30 days. Yes, if you make profit, you get a retry. So making 10% in a month is very doable, and with 1%, well, that's what I like to risk. 1% per trade, sort of keep it standard. But if there is a setup that I like and it's a large return in terms of risk to reward, then I could be risking 0.5%, 0.75%. Really just comes down to the setup. At the moment, I'm trading on an FTMO account, yes. I'm in the middle of doing another challenge at the moment, and I will be starting another one soon, and I'm hoping to do a sort of series on the channel here, just from start to finish of an FTMO challenge, and seeing if we can pass one on the channel for you guys, and I'll sort of just break down every trade that I'm taking and stuff like that. So I definitely do want to be sort of giving more signals as well soon, whether that's like through my Instagram, and I'm also looking getting into a Telegram soon. But if you guys want to check out the Instagram, everything will be on there, and I will obviously update this channel as well with any sort of signals that I'll be looking at doing in the future. But for now, they'll definitely just be on my Instagram, probably Instagram stories, most days, Monday to Friday. In a normal month, when I'm trading, I'm usually aiming for 10%, but some months are good, some months are bad. I can have 15% months, or I can have losing months. Like it really just comes down to what the market's doing. But I usually aim for around 10% in a month. It's also like a big thing to be looking at, not over trading as well. Like you could be having a good week. Let's say you're up 5% a week, having a great week, and then you lose a trade and you're like, doesn't matter, I can go again. And then you sort of just get stuck in, having made a certain amount in the week and then losing it all because you're like, I've already made it. It doesn't matter if I lose this one. So you really just do need to be strict, whether it comes to, knowing when to just like take a day or two off because you're losing too many, or on the flip side, take a day off or two because you've had a really good run, satisfied with that, and get ready for the next trading week, for example. So yeah, I usually like to try, if I get to 5 to 7% in a week, I sort of like to just call it there, do some back testing for the rest of the week, look at other stuff, and then, start afresh the week after. But it really just comes down to the market and how many opportunities there are. When it comes to trading sessions, I do like to trade the London session and the New York session, obviously just higher volatility and easier to trade. But if I do find setups, I will trade in any session. Honestly, for me, based in Australia, sometimes it's hard with the New York and the London session because they are quite late night trading sessions. So the best time and the highest volatility and best results I tend to find are between the crossover, like between 11 o'clock and 2:00 in the morning Australian time. I'm also going to break down, I've just done a bit of back testing yesterday on Euro USD, and just going to show you guys what I do to record back testing results and stuff like that. So I just use a spreadsheet, very simple, dated, pair, risk, reward, and then I got to take a screenshot or like whatever, the link to the before the trade when you get in, and then a link with the picture after, and that just helps me be able to go back over, analyze what I've done right and wrong, and sort of just visualize it rather than just have the numbers there. So for example, this top trade here, which went to even, I've got up here. So jumping in, this is where I entered the trade, and then this is where I got out of the trade. Obviously you can see here that it was a break-even trade, purely because this was around, 3%, and on a trade of that size, my break-even will be at 1-to-1. Once it's 1% in profit, stops will go to even, so it's risk-free at that point. If it's a bigger trade, for example, like 8-to-1, for example, then my stops will be usually around a quarter of the way, so between a quarter and a third. So maybe 2% in profit, I'll bring stops to even. But on a trade like this, when it's just 1-to-3, at 1-to-1, stops will go to even. Or sometimes if I'm confident that there could be a pullback into the entry zone and then another push down, then I could put half of it to even and leave the half with the initial stop loss. But like you can see here, I usually just keep my stops right above this level. This level was support, came down, was used as resistance, and then my stops are just above this level. If price breaks this level, I'm obviously wrong, and price is more than likely going to continue in this direction here. And then the second trade here was a 1-to-4. So the entry point, which I actually got the screenshot a little bit late here, I entered on this at close of this candle. Same thing, stops below the level of resistance, price breaks through, level of support, moved to the upside, and that was obviously a winner there. So simple trade. And I will break down this one as well for you guys now, starting on the higher time frame. So what I'll do when I come into the charts, as always, I'll start on the 4-hour time frame. And then, as you can see, I can see prices moving in a bullish trend, so I'm looking for buys. I've drawn up this level of support and resistance here, this little zone that I'm looking for price to come into. You can see prices come up, used it as a level of resistance, broken through, support, just a lot of reactions around this level. So basically I waited for price to come back down, thinking that there could be the pullback to this level and a move to the upside. And then from there, I'm just waiting for another confirmation where to get in. So I take it to the 1-hour chart. Nothing too much on the level in terms of that I was like clean bounce from the level. So I just sort of waited for price to move and then make another pullback to something I liked a bit better. So if I take it in again to the 30-minute chart, you can see that is still not too much, but I did like this little level here, and I also had this level drawn up, but price didn't quite get down there. So this level here was what I was looking at. And then, I just keep coming in. I usually enter on the 15 or the 5, sort of just depends on the trade and the setup. So on the 15-minute chart, this is where I got my entry. So we saw this level here, price used it as a level of support, pushed up, back down, back into the level, and then we had we had two candles here, 2 wicks. My stop loss I actually put below this level because this was my initial level that I was hoping price would come to. So I was a little bit more cautious on this trade and put the stop below this low rather than this low, which actually worked out better because I don't know where it would have been. It could have been just outside or it could have been stopped out very easily. So we were a little bit below. And then in terms of my target, it was just purely this level over here. So we saw this huge downward move. Price wanted to fill in this area. So this little sideways movement here was my might take profit, sorry. I do like to be a little bit conservative on the take profit level in terms of having it earlier rather than later, and not be greedy, just take what you can get, because you never know with these levels whether price is going to just move straight through them or whether it can just bounce back off. And I would rather just take it there rather than see price break through a little bit and then drop and end up, taking it at 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 rather than what we got here at 4 to 1. So I hope this sort of breaks down a trade a little bit simpler for you guys. I'm pretty much just coming in on the 4 hour, scaling down until I find the entry that I want on the 15 or the 5. In this case, it was the 15-minute chart. And yeah, beautiful trade. But I will definitely keep you guys updated on my Instagram with some signals this week, and just sort of get sorted with a Telegram sometime in the near future. But if there's anything you want me to cover, feel free, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, follow the Instagram and like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.